everybody. It's been a little while since I talked about chocolate perfumes. Over a year, in fact, ago that I did a roundup of my favourite chocolate perfumes. And since then, I've discovered some more really fantastic fragrances that have a dominant chocolate note. So I thought I'd do another video for you on chocolate fragrances. Hello everybody. So, as I said earlier, it has been a little while since I've visited chocolate fragrances or talked about them, and I've certainly discovered some really great ones since I posted that last video. I'll post a link down below. So let's get started. No particular order. I like all of these a lot. So I didn't mention it in my last video, and that is Orchidee Vanille from Van Cleef & Arpels. It's a white chocolate note in here, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's very woodsy, it's extremely smooth, it's like molten white chocolate. There's the tiniest hint of violet, and I believe that there's some mandarin orange in the opening. It's beautiful, beautiful fragrance, and all of these, in fact, they all last a good 8 hours or more. So I'm not going to talk about longevity and projection. Each and every one of them is good. I wouldn't be talking about them if they were, or if they were crap but smelt really good, then I would certainly let you know. But no, longevity and projection is all a star on all of these. So the next one is this one that my mum bought for me, Marc Jacobs Decadence. I like this, and I also like the Divine Decadence. I have sprayed this one on here. So to me, this is a really smooth and balmy rose, violet, chocolate concoction with some kind of something pepper in it a little bit. Maybe it's some kind of woods or juniper or something. I've not bothered looking at the notes. I'm just going to tell you how much I like them and what I smell from them. And that's really it. It's definitely coming across as a feminine fragrance, and you would expect that from a bottle that looks like that. What you make of that bottle, let me know. But I really like the fragrance, and it's a really lovely chocolate note in there, but the chocolate's not too overstated. It just really blends lovely with the florals and that whatever that is, that woodsy kind of peppery thing. Next up, this one I actually find similar-ish to Marc Jacobs Decadence. This is Panna London Chocolate Vanille, and I put this one in this hand. This one, there's the rose and the chocolate again, but the rose in this one is quite soapy and fresh. This is a very fresh gourmand fragrance. So I love a gourmand, but sometimes they can be cloying, thick, too heavy. This is, I could see this being worn during the day on a fairly warm day. It's something that really lifts it up. I'm not quite sure. It's almost like if you took the zestiness of an orange peel, but you actually took the actual orangeness away, just like the freshness remained, and you pop that in with some soapy clean rose and kind of slightly bitter chocolate, probably a dark chocolate, about 80% cocoa, I think. But that's a really nice one, and again, you get a good performance from it, and it's quite a good price for a niche fragrance, and it's a nice presentation as well. I like that. So next up, I've mentioned this in loads of videos, but it actually wasn't in my chocolate lineup, I don't think. And this is Intense Cafe from Montal. I love the chocolate in here. Let's find a bit of skin. Ooh. So with the Montals, generally you will get an oil that settles on the skin. They're very highly concentrated with oil, and this doesn't shock or surprise me. It's really oily. This is very rich, and it might become cloying to some noses. A lot of rose. It's a different kind of rose again from the rose that's in Decadence and Chocolate Vanille. I'm not an expert on roses. I could never tell you it was Bulgarian rose or Otto rose or whatever. I would say the rose is just denser, richer, thicker, more obvious. Definitely not soapy. More Turkish Delight kind of rose. you've got chocolate, you've got a coffee note in there. A lot of people argue that there's no coffee in Intense Cafe, and that is very subjective because I always notice the coffee in there. It's quite light. It's almost like if you ground coffee down to a powder and then just like threw it in the air. It's a transparent coffee. It's not like smelling a dark cup of coffee right up close. This dries down, you get a lot of vanilla. The rose and the chocolate stay for the duration. This is the longest lasting out of all of these, 10, 12, 15 hours. And it's really, really good. I've had it a long time. I don't reach for it a lot, but when I do, I always wonder why I don't, if you know what I mean. So Montel's Intense Cafe is a big thumbs up for chocolate lovers. And this is one where the chocolate's not overpowering. It just, again, it's like a powdered cocoa powder. Imagine you've got your latte, very milky latte with foam on top, and a sprinkling of cocoa powder on the top of that, and there's definitely a shot of vanilla running through, and then roses everywhere. That is Intense Cafe in a nutshell. Okay, so another one from Panna London. So they obviously like their chocolate. This one is called, I think it's called, there it is, Pink Champagne Truffle. Now this one, whoa, this is heavy dark chocolate, bitter. I'd say it's 90% cocoa. I'm picturing a really dark bar of chocolate. It's very bitter, almost dry, like it makes you like need to take a drink. It's that dry. When you actually spray it, I'm gonna have to find somewhere else now. Excuse me. I've got Mr. Smelly coming around in a minute, and he is going to think I smell a bit strange with all these different fragrances all over me, but you know, oopsie. So, Pink Champagne Truffle from Panna London. I've just put some on my skin. I'm going to give that a little chance to settle. This one, you definitely get the booziness that the word truffle puts in your mind. Can I pinpoint it? Not exactly. It does remind me of those chocolates. I remember when I was little, my parents would get these chocolate liqueurs at Christmas. And if I was allowed to eat one, you break open the like a wine bottle shaped chocolate, and inside there's sugar crystals and then this liqueur, flavoured alcoholic liqueur. It reminds me of those, but I'd say the booze is probably kind of like a whiskey or a brandy. But it doesn't smell specifically like whiskey or brandy. It smells like it is mixed in with the chocolate and more palatable, because I don't actually like drinking whiskey or brandy. I don't like smelling whiskey or brandy from a cup. I don't like it. A cup? We don't drink those kind of drinks from cups, do we? Sorry. From a glass. This one has raspberry in it. And it reminds me as well, when we was younger, I used to go to Woolworths, which is was a chain store. You'd find one on every major high street in the UK. They've gone bust quite a few years ago, but they used to sell, when you walked in, and right at the front was loads of different sweets where you would, you know, do pick and mix. And there's sweets called, I think they were called Ruffles or Raffles, wrapped up in purple shiny paper, and they were dark chocolate with a raspberry centre, but the raspberry had texture, like a bit like a coconut ice or something like that. Almost maybe there was coconut in perhaps, but it reminds me of those Ruffles sweets. So we're talking a very dark bitter chocolate with some raspberry and some boozy truffly thing going on. This would be cloying for some people. I think this is not a hot weather fragrance. Maybe you could just about get away with it on an evening following a hot day, but I think you're not necessarily going to be inclined to go for it unless the weather's a bit chilly, because it's definitely a very cozy, strong gourmand that you're going to want to be wearing while you're in front of the fire, you know, having a cozy night and it's snowing outside. That's what this fragrance says to me. That's where it would be placed. Or even it would be fun to wear it to the pub, you know. But it'd be nice if there's a fire at the pub too. Not a fire that takes the pub out and kills everyone. I mean an open fire, you know what I mean. So that is Pink Champagne Truffle. Really interesting fragrance. So what's left? So this one, I don't think it's officially got a chocolate note in it. It's Ambra del Napoli, and it's from Profumi Firenze, I think. I'm going to spray some here now. I am really going to be an absolute mishmash of chocolate. I'm going to be a walking chocolate concoction. Mr. Smelly's going to want to eat me, isn't he? So, shut up. I know what you're thinking. Don't be rude. So, anyway, I don't think there's an actual chocolate note listed for this fragrance, Ambra del Napoli, but I definitely get a chocolatey feeling from it. So this is probably the least chocolatey fragrance, but it's an amber fragrance, and amber and chocolate sometimes do sort of come together, or you know, sometimes you smell amber and you think you're smelling chocolate, so that's probably what it is. To me it smells kind of like a milky chocolate, but you've got a load of peppery kind of benzoin. It's very incensey, obviously very ambery, quite mellow but also strong at the same time. This is quite a sexy one, and again this is probably more of a a cooler weather fragrance, because it's very cozy and inviting. And yeah, it's quite woodsy, but there's just this kind of milky, it's an abstract chocolate note, so don't go expecting it to smell exactly like chocolate. It just, to me, the way the notes blend together add up to something slightly chocolatey. So let's just call it my honourable mention, because it's not as chocolatey as the other fragrances, but I felt that it was worth a mention regardless. Might be worth trying, might be worth checking it out. Maybe if you find true chocolate fragrances a bit too much, then that might be one to try. So, I hope you liked the quick mini reviews of the chocolate fragrances. And I wanted to ask you what you would like me to review next, because I've not done a lot of reviews lately. I've been a bit lazy. I've just done some easy stuff, fun stuff, holiday stuff, but I understand that, you know, we're all fragrance connoisseurs, and I'm sure that, that some of you might want to suggest fragrance in particular you'd like me to review, or maybe a group of fragrances like this one. I'm thinking of doing a vintage / glamorous fragrance lineup, so maybe 4 or 5 fragrances that just conjure up kind of like Hollywood glamour. I've definitely got a few in mind for that, so let me know if that takes your fancy, or if you've got any other ideas, because you know, I do this not just for me, I do it for you, and I'd love you to enjoy what I do as much as I enjoy doing it. So let me know, and I will catch up with you soon. Oh, by the way, have you checked out mine and Mr. Smelly's new channel? So I think it's called Smelly and Smurfy Frag Chat. I'll put a link below. I'd love you to go along. We've done 2 episodes so far. We're going to probably record one tonight or tomorrow. I'd love you to pop along and subscribe and see what we do. It's going to be more of a relaxed chatting about what's going on in the fragrance community in general, new releases, other YouTube channels, that kind of stuff. So if you fancy that, come along, say hi and stuff. Catch you all later.